What's up, guys? Broke Investor here. Back to make another video. Today's video is what I think a lot of people want to talk about and see is how I track my dividends. I know when I post things on Instagram, Facebook, etc., sometimes I do the visual, which is from my Excel spreadsheet, and a lot of people ask, can you send this to me, or what are you using, etc. So I'm just going to show you the format that I'm doing in Excel and why I'm doing it. So obviously that's what you see behind me on the board. Hopefully it is visual, but I'll go through each and every one anyway. All right. So obviously I invest for dividend paying stocks again. So the idea is I buy stocks, only stocks that pay dividends, and I track each and every dividend that gets paid every month, every quarter, etc. And I try to, increase it gradually. And I track each and every stock that's paid, each and every dividend. And I do it on a spreadsheet. So that way even my brokerage can't rip me off. So that's the idea here. So let's get into it. So obviously, like I said, it's in Excel. Hopefully everyone has Excel on their computers. If not, it's well worth it. I know it is a ripoff, but it's still worth it because you kind of need it for everything. So first, I put the company. So obviously the full name of the company. Next, I use the ticker. Obviously, in this example, KO, company Coca-Cola. Next, I do pay dates. So what that means is what month this company pays a dividend. So in this case, they pay quarterly, and they pay the months of January, April, July, and October. Why do I do this? It's because I want my portfolio balanced. I want to see, because most stocks, they do pay quarterly. So I kind of want to balance my income that comes in every month. So I'd like to see stocks that pay, 1, 4, 7, 10, what is it, 2, 5, 8, 9, 2, 5, 8, 11, and then 3, 6, 9, 12. Obviously, there's some that pay monthly, so those I don't really have to worry about. In that case, I would just put all under the pay dates section. So anyway, for Coca-Cola, they just paid in October, so that's why I'm doing this. Obviously, I just kind of jotted down the October spreadsheet. Holding percentage. What this means is what percentage of Coca-Cola I own against basically my entire portfolio. So I do this by total cash fronted for Coca-Cola divided by total cash fronted. So in this example, Coca-Cola is 4.03%. If I saw a number like 10% or 20%, obviously I would want to lower that because, at least in my opinion, the holding percentage should be around 5% or lower, depending on how many actual individual stocks you own. That's the percentage. That pretty much keeps you safe and forces you to be diversified. So next column is sector. Everyone knows what sector is, but Coca-Cola's sector is consumer defensive, and industry is beverages and soft drinks. The reason for this, again, I'm laying out every single stock on a spreadsheet, so I want to be diversified. Being diversified is very important. Don't underestimate that. So there's around 8 or 10 sectors, depending on who you're asking, but obviously you don't want every single stock to be consumer defensive. So you need to write down and understand every sector for all the stocks that you do own. So I also, when I write down my dividend payments, sorry for my dog in the background, by the way, but when I write down my dividend payments, I group all the sectors together. So I have an idea, I have 4 in this sector, I have 5 in this sector, I only have 1 in healthcare. Why do I have 1 in healthcare? So it kind of makes you just look at the whole thing. Industry is also important because within one sector, you don't want to own something in the same exact industry. If you have 5 stocks in consumer defensive, you don't want everything under beverages. obviously that's not diversified. You want to be diversified by sector and industry. So anyway, market cap. Talk about diversification. I also try to be diversified by market cap. Coca-Cola, obviously, it's a mega cap, which basically means that's the largest cap grouping that you can be in when it comes to stocks. In the top right corner, you probably can't see, there's the different classifications. So I have a formula in my Excel spreadsheet. Obviously, I put the market cap in a separate column, and it feeds off that. So if the market cap is less than 300 million, that's a micro cap. If it's between 300 million and 2 billion, that's small cap. If it's between 2 billion and 10 billion, that's mid cap. If it's between 10 billion and 100 billion, that's a large cap stock. And in Coca-Cola's case, if it's greater than 100 billion, it's a mega cap. I think Coca-Cola is 300 billion. Hold on a sec, I got it written down somewhere here. 227. Yeah, 227 billion, whatever, close enough. Anyway, moving on. Next, what I do is I put the month, obviously, that it's paying, October 10. Year, 2019. Okay. Frequency, quarterly. There's reasons, obviously, that I do this, but obviously, going down the line, later on, you want to probably do pivot tables. You want to see what, the gradual increases month to month. Frequency, I know I have this, but I actually use this for a formula later that you'll see. Next column, stocks owned by month end and stocks owned by X dividend date. So I like to track how many stocks I owned by the end of October and how many of those stocks I owned at the end of October and before the X dividend date. So in this case, I'm doing the October month, and I did own all 13 shares prior to the X dividend date for that month's dividend. If I did not, this number would be less, obviously. Average stock price, basically, it's my average stock price. So what I purchased 13 shares in total for Coca-Cola, and the average price is $44.62. Cash fronted, basically, that's the average stock price times 13. So I fronted $580.06 for Coca-Cola. Dividends per stock, how much in dividends they're paying per share for October. So they pay 40 cents per share. 40 cents times 13 equals the next column, the total dividend. So obviously I'm getting paid $5.20 for the month of October. Next is yield on cost. So everyone knows yield on cost, or in my statement, YOC. So you take the dividend and you multiply it by 4 in this case. So this is where I said the quarterly comes into play. So it would say, okay, if quarterly, multiply this times 4, or if this, monthly, you don't have to do that step. You get the point. So dividend times 4 divided by average stock price. That equals the yield on cost. So this times 4 divided by 44.62. My yield on cost to date is 3.59%, which is not, spectacular. It's not bad, that's for sure. Again, I'm actually just, I'm 2 years in into getting involved with dividend investing. So Coca-Cola was one of the first ones, obviously, and it's been doing pretty well. It's increased their dividend, but not substantially. Had it increase it substantially, you would notice it in the yield on cost. Moving on, the 4 important dates you should know. Declaration date, which is the date that they actually declare their dividend, and the other dates. Ex-dividend date is the date after the date that you have to own the stock to get the dividend. So in this example, the ex-dividend date is September 13th. You had to own the stock September 12th or prior to get this dividend. Record date is basically the date that they record it in the book. So what I take that as is the date it should show up in my brokerage under the pending dividends to be paid. Payment date is the date you actually get paid. Obviously, this is October, and that's what ties into pay date. So it's the same, it's the month it gets paid. Month end stock value. So in this example, I'm putting, at the end of each month, and this month is October, although it's not the end of the month, but I'm closing out October for my purposes. The stock is at $53.41. Month-end equity, so I take the month-end stock price, I multiply that by how many stocks I owned. In this example, it's $694.33. Capital gains, so in that example, I take the month-end equity and I subtract out the cash that was fronted, and which gives me, how much, basically how much capital gain I have, which is up $114.27. And then I have capital gain percentage. You get the idea. So it's 19.7% in this example. So obviously I'm doing pretty good on Coca-Cola, but more importantly, this is what I do to track my dividend-paying stocks each and every month. Yes, I do it monthly. So every month I go through my spreadsheet, and as I add stocks, I add them to the spreadsheet. As I increase my holdings on certain stocks, I fill in the appropriate columns. And, the reason I do this on a month-to-month basis is I'm trying to keep accountable. I actually have a goal each month, too. I try to increase my monthly dividend income, by a specific percentage. In the beginning, it was like 10%. Now, obviously, it's way down because I cannot keep up with 10%. It's around 1 to 2 or 3% at most. And that also, it keeps me having a steady income month to month. So my monthly income, if I have to increase it from month to month, then I'm not really heavy in one particular quarter versus another. And there's plenty of stocks out there, so you can make it work. And the reason I care about that, or at least I do right now, is I'm trying to balance out, if I ever want to live off these funds, these dividends, then I want it to be equal. Yes, I can make it work if one month is higher than, the next, but, I'm having fun with this. I'm trying to keep a strict goal month to month, and go from there. So, again, I would highly advise using Excel to track your dividend, your dividends. Don't use a brokerage. You can't really see anything. Once you actually write it down and type it out, that's when you know what you're actually looking at. And like I said, when you look at the sectors and you look at your holding percentages, it'll keep you diversified. It'll keep you in check. So if not, how the hell are you tracking anything? It's probably just madness of stocks all over the place, and you're getting dividends all over the place. I actually just found an issue today. I was tracking my dividends. I was marking, okay, this one shows pending payment for this amount. Does it match what's on my spreadsheet? Yes, yes. And then I went up to one, and I found an issue on MDT, Medtronic. So I just emailed Robinhood. I'm hoping it's a display issue, but we'll see. So yeah, things like that can happen. So there is many benefits to tracking your dividends. Obviously, it takes time, but I think it's worth it, especially for beginners. Maybe years and years down the road, I'll have a different method. Maybe I'll just do this quarterly. I have no idea. But for now, again, the purpose of this video is just to show you, the basic spreadsheet. Obviously, if this was an Excel spreadsheet, it would just go across. I couldn't fit it across, so I had 3 different rows, obviously. So anyway, as always, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a broke-ass investor sharing my journey along the way. I hope you all enjoy it. If you like the video, click like. If you have suggestions, what I should add, what I should not have on here, please leave a comment below, or just comment for the hell of it, and share if you'd like. All right, thanks for tuning in. Broke Investor. Later.